Welcome to another episode of RELICS Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting, relic, and treasure hunting. You can also call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any questions or comments you might have. RELICS Radio is also syndicated on the Cutting Edge Radio Network and is broadcast around the world. You're listening to RELICS Radio of Southern Kentucky. And you are listening to another episode of RELICS Radio. I see the chat already filling up. Everybody is rambunctious tonight. But we want to welcome everybody that's listening live on the Spreaker app. We want to welcome all of our syndicated listeners also on the Cutting Edge Radio Network. And we know that not everybody can listen to the show live, and a lot of you will pick up this show on the archives, either on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can even tell Alexa, and I got to say this real low, she may hear me, but say, Alexa, enable the Spreaker app, and then say, Alexa, play RELICS Radio, and she'll do it right then. Excited this week. The RELICS Radio Facebook group page reached over 1,300 members now, and also on the Himalaya list that ranks all of the podcasts and everything. RELICS Radio was right at the top of the list of metal detecting podcasts, and that's out of 500,000. Now, not all of those are metal detecting podcasts, and I know that those numbers fluctuate back and forth. Some of the other guys will take the top spot every now and then, and that's all well and good, but it is quite an honor that we get up there at the top every now and then. And I am your host, Diggin with 7, and I'm not going to be solo tonight because I brought in a co-host tonight, my good buddy, Mr. Jeff Lubert. What's going on tonight, Jeff?
I tell you what, battling the weather once again.
Are y'all getting snow again?
We actually did a bit last night into this morning. Only amounted to maybe half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, depending on where you're at. But you know what? It was still one of those ones where it's a little rough out there. The grounds are all frozen, so probably be a month or so before we even get out.
Yeah. So. Well, it snowed here today as well. It was 70-something degrees here Monday. We went down to the boat, down to the houseboat, and cleaned it up and checked and make sure everything was okay and everything was fine. And just a beautiful day. Water was still cold, but then today I looked out and it was just snowing right down. So we're still in winter right now. Groundhog, I hope that the groundhog was right, that we're going to have a short winter and that spring is right around the corner. We got daffodils that are blooming. I took a picture of those and put them on Facebook. So we're not far away, are we?
It sounds like you're just around the corner now, so that's all good. Might have to come down and visit you. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the door's always open, and that is literal. You know, I live in a part of the country that I wouldn't want to live anywhere else because we leave our doors unlocked. We never leave and lock the doors. We even leave the keys in our car outside. I probably shouldn't say that. Somebody will steal one of our vehicles tonight. But the door is always open, Jeff, if you want to come down and spend some time. Spend some time on the boat or here at the house. I don't care. Whichever way you want to do it, you know. It doesn't matter to us. We'll leave the light on for you. And I mean that literally, too. We leave a light on down in the lower level of the house. But we've got a good show lined up here tonight, and the reason that I asked you and wanted you to come in on tonight's show is because you've got some experience with the area that we're going to be talking about tonight because you went to a hunt last year. Now, it's not the same hunt this year, but there is one guy that is the head over this, or at least part of the the head of it, and we got him on, and so I'm just going to let you go ahead and introduce our guest and bring him on in tonight.
Alrighty, well, yeah, last fall I made it out to the New York area and participated in the hunt, and there I actually met Peter Sorrell, who was actually one of our guests tonight, and he was a awesome guy. He set up the permissions for that location for that hunt and did it once again for this hunt. So we're going to bring on Peter Sorrell and Matt Jones. Are you guys both there tonight?
Yeah, I'm here.
We are. Pete. All right. Hey, Peter. I don't know if you remember me because I know you guys were crazy busy last fall, and you probably met, I don't know, 2/3 everyone that was there, if not everyone that was there. So, Jeff Lubert out of Denver, Colorado. I think there's like 6 of us from the Denver area that actually made our way out to the hunt last fall.
One nice thing I remember is, I mean, there were so many people, it was hard to get a hold of everybody. There's tons of people who said, "Hey, I met you," and I said, "I probably did, but I'm sorry if I don't remember you exactly. I must have met 1,000 people that weekend, no joke." And it was quite an experience. But Jeff, I do remember somebody from your group. They gave me this nice little token, and I keep it right in a special place from your club, the Eureka Treasure Hunters or Treasure Club, right? Is that what it's called?
Yep. Eureka Treasure Hunters. Yeah, we have a tendency to hand those tokens out on a regular basis. So there's not a whole bunch of them, but a lot of people that are at least in our community have one. So welcome to our community as well.
Yeah, I don't even have one of those tokens. You guys gonna have to send? No, I don't have one. You're gonna have to send me one.
I thought I gave you one.
And no, not that I know of. If you did, I spent it. No, right. I don't think you did. But
see, Peter actually has his up in a special place up on the fireplace mantle. You stole, you didn't steal, but you sold it or used it in chain. Good say.
Yeah, and full disclosure, Jeff, me and you and Butch, we had Peter on American Digger here a few weeks ago. We touched on the event that we're going to talk about later in the show here tonight. But also we talked about a great find that Peter found there in Rhode Island, a pine tree shilling. Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. Oof. That seriously is one of those finds that makes my heart skip a beat because that is the very top of the list of my bucket list right there. So that still gives me chills just to even see pictures of it and even talk about it.
Hey, Peter, before we get into the show here tonight and go to talking about the hunt and all that, give us a little bit of background on that find, where you were at, and just the whole situation around it, what you felt like whenever you finally realized what you had.
Yeah, I was in Rhode Island hunting with 2 of my great friends, Alex Metz and Chris Tracy of Grunt Diggers, and we were just hitting some colonial fields and homes because there's a lot of them up there in Connecticut. You can literally throw a stone and hit one. They're just everywhere. So we got permission to this property that they had from a previous hunt. They had hit this little side field, but they had never hit the main house, which was built in the 1750s or so. And so we decided to ask the homeowners if we could hunt around the main home, and they gave us the go-ahead, and we had a great day. We were picking some really nice relics out. Chris got a large cent and a silver baby spoon, and Alex got a musket ball and a nice 2-cent piece. And I was finding some interesting pieces here and there, and but it was getting towards the end of the day, and I said, well, you know what? I know they hit that little field across the road, but I'm going to give it a shot. And so I wandered over to that little field and dug a can, hit a couple of, and I was like, man, I'm too close to the road. So I moved in a little bit farther. I get another great signal, dig another can. It's just, I was like kind of getting frustrated, but that's we all know that's the way, detecting goes. It's not always treasure. So I just kept up my persistence and I hit a really deep Colonial shoe buckle, and then I nailed a flat button, and then I moved right into the interior of the field, and we had to leave at 3 o'clock. I looked down, and I think the clock said 2:54 or something like that. It was really late. And I got a good signal, and I said, well, it sounds kind of like a can, but it sounds slightly different. And in my head, I said, I'll either dig it, and it'll be something great, or I'll dig it, it's going to be trash. But if I don't dig it, I'll never know what it is. And so I popped the plug, called the guys over. It was the last hole of the day. And we looked down there, and we could see a round disc. We thought it was, Alex thought maybe it was a Real. I thought it was a flat button, a big dandy button. And I pulled it up, and I saw that year 1652, and I just about lost it. I yelled out. We put out a holler that they probably heard 3 miles down the road. That's how exciting it was.
All right, so you guys are actually in 3 Mile Holler then. I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
They got 3 Mile Holler, and we got 5 Mile Holler. So
okay,
that's the only difference there. Yeah. A great find, though. And by the way, let me jump in before I let Jeff take over. That article is in the current issue, the January-February 2020 issue of the greatest metal detecting magazine put out. That's American Digger magazine, and it starts on page 53. So if you've got a copy of that, go look at it. If you don't have a copy of it, order one. Just call Anita and tell her that you would like a sample copy, and she'll probably send you that one there. And once you see it, you're going to want to order it. Ain't all right, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. It's you know what, I actually have volume 1, issue 1, and every issue in between. So I'm one of those people that stuck with it, and I'm glad I did, because it is definitely, like you're saying, the best relic hunting or metal detecting magazine out there.
Yep. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead. You were starting something.
I was going to say, now we've heard from Peter. Let's bring on Matt quick. So, Matt, are you there, my friend?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Matt. So why don't you just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, a little bit of history on Matt Jones and what brought him into metal detecting, and what brought him to where we are today.
So I've been in this since 1995. I got started in it, early, but not as early as some. And I always, it's every little boy's, fantasy at one point in time to dig buried treasure. And when I was 14, I was at my grandmother's house, and she had a house on the property that was built sometime before Abraham Lincoln was president. And she wanted to renovate the house to make it, livable for, new tenants. And so me and my cousin were over at the house, we were tearing up the floorboards under there. And, I was a boy, so I had to crawl underneath the house. And back then, I don't even remember what I had. I think I had like a little bounty hunter or something. And so I crawled under the house, and I'm like looking around, had no idea what I was doing. And I actually tried to stand up. I hit my head on the bottom of the floor, and so I laid down. I was holding my head, and I just happened to look up, and there was a tin, like shoved up in the floorboards between the main seal and the floorboards of the house. And so I grabbed this tin, and I come outside, and inside the tin there was $1,000 in Confederate money that somebody had stashed in there years ago. And that got me. I was hooked. Ever since then of finding buried treasure. So my experience of coming into metal detecting, that's what started it, from restoring that old house.
Now, I have actually seen, I believe it was like little prizes in the cereal that they reproduced the Confederate money back in the late 60s, early 70s. If I remember right, was the money that you found that the real deal?
Honestly, I have no idea. My grandmother took it. She stuck it in a frame, and it's actually hanging in her living room above her dining room table. Yep.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, the way you can tell is those reproductions were actually printed, with the real colors and all that. But you can tell that the ink is the same color as some of the printing on there. It was all done with one press. The real money should have handwritten serial numbers on there, and each note signed as well in ink.
I had to take a look at that one. Go back over there.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I tell you what, if that was a real deal, you hit the ground running whenever you started, didn't you?
Yeah, that grand slam and walk off.
We actually found there was one of the notes in there was a bond. She said that she was going to try to get some information on it. The signature on it actually had, it looked like somebody had laid a cigar on it at one point in time, and it had burned through the signature on it. But it was a bank bond in the form of a note.
That sounds pretty awesome and pretty amazing and pretty darn genuine, if you ask me. Just from the descriptions of it, what's there. So.
Yeah, if you've got a banknote in there, I'd say the money is real as well. Hey guys, we need to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on RELICS Radio. And me and Jeff Lubert here tonight, we're both on that American Digger crew. And Jeff, you've been working today on, I guess, what we're going to do Monday night, haven't you?
That is correct. Actually, I was doing that, and instead of preparing for tonight's show, unfortunately, I lost complete track of time, so I apologize for that to you.
Nobody else knows that.
Got a few irons in the fire.
Yeah, nobody else knows that because you were here from the get-go, but we were scrambling around and trying to find you and everything. But who are we going to have this Monday night again?
This Monday night we have Chris Turner from the Ring Finders. That's
going to be a great show. And you are part of the Ring Finders, and so that's very appropriate as well. Sorry for the interruption there, but Jeff, go ahead and continue with Matt.
I'll say, yeah, we're just kind of getting around to Matt's leaping into the treasure hunting world by hitting a grand slam for the World Series and walking off in the 9th inning here to start his career off by finding one of the most amazing finds I think that could be made out there, as far as made without a detector too. That's the killer part.
Yeah, I didn't detect. I didn't get to keep it, so
But then that's part of it. You know what? Sometimes we don't get the finds that we make, but it sounds like it stayed in the family, so that's a good thing.
It has, and it'll never go anywhere. It'll stay right there until she passes away, and then I assume it'll come to me or go to my uncle or somebody like that. But it'll never leave the family.
Well, that's awesome, and something like that, it will be a family heirloom. Hopefully you have the story written on the back of it too, so that someone look at it and is like, well, what's the story behind that? So 10, 15, 20 years down the road, that story will be with it as well.
Sure.
Hey, so what have you been up to ever since then? I mean, this is back in the 90s, right? So what's happened since then, Matt?
So I detected for 5 or 10 years, something like that, and I kind of got out of it for a little while. I guess you could say I kind of got burnt out on it, for a bit there, because I tried to make it more like a profession than a hobby. And just like any job, you just over time you just get burnt out. So I took a short break. I stayed out for about a year, and I've come back on. I started another YouTube channel. Started a couple of Facebook pages, got hooked up with some new friends, and, here we are today. And I've been, pretty hard at it ever since.
Well, that's fantastic. Sometimes that's what it takes, is a little break in there to really ignite that fire. You kind of had it burning pretty good there. Sometimes the coals burn down a bit, and you just need that little breath of air to ignite it again. So
now, how did you and Peter get hooked up together?
I actually met him at DIGSTOCK, and at Pound the Ground. And it's better if he tells that story, how we actually met, because it sounds better coming from him. So if you don't mind, let him explain that one to you.
Okay, go ahead, Peter. Peter, go ahead and tell the story.
Yeah, so we were, it was probably the second day of Pound the Ground, and we had a really bad windstorm the previous night. And so we're out there, I'm out there trying to pick up tents and everything, and out of the darkness comes Matt, who I'd never met in my life at that point. I've heard of I've seen his YouTube videos and stuff, but I'd never actually met him in person, so I didn't know this guy called Swamp Critter was the same guy that I was talking to that morning. But he came right up to me and said, "Hey, can I give you a hand?" And and I said, "That'd be awesome." I said, "I really could use a hand." I said, because we got a lot of damage here. So we ended up that morning. He helped me for probably an hour before the event even started, picking up tents and getting stuff situated. And I was very happy about that because there were a lot of folks out there in their trucks, and Matt was one of the only guys that came out and offered his hand to help, and that, to me, that meant a lot. That says a lot about a person to do, just kind of come out there and present their present that help to you without even asking, and I appreciated that. So since that time, Matt and I have developed a pretty dang good friendship, and I've been down here a couple times now and dug my first Confederate relics and true Civil War relics with him. So I can't thank him enough. And now he's actually this event that we've got coming up in the fall. He's my partner in that. So the two of us are going to be in this from now until we stop doing it. So I'm glad we met.
Yeah. And where are you located at, Matt?
I live in North Carolina, so I live in Tarboro. Tarboro is about maybe an hour from Raleigh-Durham Airport.
Okay.
Most people associate, RDU with Raleigh. And I've lived in North Carolina pretty much my entire life. I mean, I've moved to other cities around, but I've been right here to NC my whole life ever since 1984.
Yep. Well, Peter was talking about getting into some Civil War stuff, and I didn't think that Chazy, New York, or that area had a lot of that other than what people brought back. So I just
no, he got lucky. He got lucky.
Yeah, and
he did. He came down and stole a North Carolina sunburst from here and took it back home with him.
Oh my!
Oh, nice.
Goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness. That is a find. I tell you what, any of the state buttons, to me, is a real find, when you're talking about Civil War. Of course, I'd love to have a George Washington, too. I mean, that's at the top of my bucket list, but any of those state buttons, and I've only got one. I've got one of the hardest ones to find, and that is Kentucky. Of course, I live in Kentucky, so, but that's one of the harder ones to find, but, yeah, I'd love to have, each of the state buttons that I could find that way.
That would be a cool collection to have.
Yep.
That would be. And
you were talking about the wind. I guess, Jeff, you were right in the middle of it, wasn't you?
I tell you what, when he was saying there was a windstorm, those guys over there have a whole different definition of windstorms than anyone else I know of, because most people consider that a hurricane. Because I tell you what, I think out of all the tents, we're talking about these little pop-up, 10 by 10, 12 by 12, and there was, there had to be a couple dozen of them out there. I think there's only one that survived the storm. Everything else
that was our tent. That was the main tent. That thing was nailed down. Most of the vendors, once they figured out what was going on, we gave them all the down low. We said, put the tent low to the ground and stake it good, because when the winds whip across this from the lake, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there was a bunch of twisted aluminum frames that were stuck in the ditch, and they were piled up out of the way so people could, walk around and not have to worry about stepping on them, getting caught in them, or anything like that. So those guys worked their tails off that morning to get things, cleaned up well enough to actually have the event continue on. So congrats on that one, and thanks for all that hard work, because it was, I'm sure that, like you're saying, it wasn't easy to get all that done.
Yeah, and it's good of Matt to volunteer his time to come in there, and help you straighten all that mess up.
Yeah, I mean, it was really appreciated, and like I said, I appreciate, not a lot of people, there's some people out there that won't do that. And to me, a person that does that without, on their own volition, without any asking or anything, I didn't even know Matt, and he didn't know me other than, being the guy up there on the stage, telling everybody, welcome. For him to come out and do that was really something. And, that's how a lot of these friendships start, and now here we are partners in this new thing we're doing. And we think we got something real special. So, everybody meets for a reason, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too. And we got a lot of people in the chat that were at the Pound the Ground event last year, and they're all talking about the wind and the tents and everything. And Bill Hayes said that Butch Holcomb never did find his tent.
Butch probably had his tent. It was probably one of the ones Matt and I picked up, and it just ended up in a pile with the rest of them.
I was fixing to say probably either Allison Walker or Steve Zazulik up in Canada found Butch's tent the way the wind was blowing that way.
Well.
We haven't talked about detectors, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of the hour here, and we got about 5 minutes before another commercial break. But Peter, why don't you tell us what kind of detectors, your evolution of detectors, kind of what you started with, what you hunt with now, and then you can turn it over to Matt, and he can do the same thing.
Yeah. I started out with a banana yellow Garrett Ace 250 back in 2000. So I've been detecting for 10 years. 2010. I was in college, and I researched metal detecting on accident, actually. I was looking for some other videos, and the detective and metal detecting came up. And so I spent a day watching metal detecting videos and researched a bunch of detectors, got myself one of those Garrett Ace 250s, and went to town. And from there, I found enough change on my college campus in the first year to buy myself an AT Pro. And I used that for a couple of years, and then I went to England. And then I saw this fancy new wireless machine I never heard of before, made in France, called the XP Deus. And I'll tell you what, after that experience over there, I had one of those under the tree that Christmas.
It's a nice evolution of your detectors because, some people, they start out that way. The lesser expensive Ace 250, those are a great little beginner model. And some people don't like to put a whole lot of money into it before they begin because if they don't enjoy the hobby, they don't want to have a whole lot put into it. And, vast majority
that's what I tell people to do.
Yeah, vast majority of us get hooked and we get obsessed with it, and that's the way it goes. Then next thing you know, you're upgrade, and you did fine. I don't know where you can go from there.
Well, like Jeff Luber, you can have 20 or 30 detectors. What about you, Matt? I know that you said that you probably started out with a bounty hunter. What was your evolution of metal detectors?
Yeah, so the machine, it was actually my grandma's. It was just like a cheap little Radio Shack plastic machine. My first real machine that I had was a Nautilus DMC, the old curved handle DMC Nautilus, and I used it for many moons. And I found a lot of artillery with it. Moved up to a 2BA a couple years after that, and then I moved up to a White's Blue and Gray, which is still, in my opinion, one of the deepest machines on the market, even though they don't manufacture it anymore. And then, as I say, I got out of it, and when I came back, sometime around 2012, 13, something like that, I got a hold of the Deus, and I was a die-hard Deus fan for many years. And here just recently, a couple of days ago, I got the new Note to Amphibio Multi, and that might be my next go-to machine. But I haven't used it enough to say so yet, but between, XP and Note, between those two brands.
Well, I can tell that you're a relic hunter because just the mention of Nautilus, that was a machine, no doubt about it. And,
you're dang all right.
And I know a lot of relic hunters that bought have recently bought every one of those that they could find, and it had a different sound coming in one headphone and a different one on the other. Can you explain that to people that's never used one?
It did. I wish that they still made. Now I think Jerry Tyndall actually passed away. I think the guy that made it in Coates, but it had it had a grunt in your left ear and a ping, what I call a ping, in your right ear. So for iron and bigger relics, it gave you a grunt, and then for bullets, buttons, high conductivity targets, it gave you the ping. And I mean, man, I'm telling you, in a real trashy area, it really wasn't worth 5 cents. But now, if you wanted to go out and dig some deep mini balls or some deep cannonballs or something like that, man, there was nothing else out there that could even touch a Nautilus.
That's what I've heard. I've never used one, but I've hunted with people that have had them. I've never even been in the field with one, but like I say, I've hunted with relic hunters that used to hunt with them, that owned them, and they say that they are absolutely deep. Jeff, do you ever use a Nautilus?
You know what? That is one machine I have not used. Like you, out where I live, there really isn't a whole lot of need for it. We've actually found stuff literally. I mean, from the Indian Wars, 1870s, found literally a 2-cent piece laying on the ground on the surface. We find buttons laying on the surface, and it's just amazing. So we don't need that super deep machine.
Yeah. Hey, we got another commercial break and be right back. I'm excited to announce that Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors has rejoined RELICS Radio as a sponsor. As a multi-line dealer, Tim carries several brands of detectors and accessories, and he's ready to serve all of your metal detecting needs. I'll give you his contact info in a minute. So why did RELICS Radio go back to Tim Henderson as our dealer sponsor? 3 very important reasons. First, I often hunt with Tim, so I know firsthand that he uses what he sells, and he prides himself with great customer service and support. Second, Tim goes the extra mile in helping the new detectorist determine exactly what they need to get started. He will not try and sell you some high-priced product if that's not what you need. And at the same time, Tim can serve the seasoned detectorist with their upgrades or new product questions. And finally, Tim won't leave you hanging after the sale. He's just a phone call away for any questions or specialized training needs. So, you can call Tim directly at 615-948-4611, or you can email him at tjhenderson@comcast.net. And Tim is a great guy. I haven't talked to him in the past few days, but I did put his email, and that's the way he likes to be contacted, is either through email or, and I think I put a space after the TJ, shouldn't have. That's all one word right there. But contact him through that, or contact him through his phone number, which was in the ad there as well. Go ahead, Jeff.
Meeting Peter last year, and realistically, odds are probably end up, saying hi to Matt or bumping elbows with him as well. But last year we met him at Pound the Ground. This year they're putting on a new event, DIGSTOCK 2020, and all the stuff that was found there last year, these are farm fields. These are fields that keep getting plowed up, and therefore bringing new relics back up to the surface. So it'll be exciting to see what they come out with this year. But we have DIGSTOCK 2020 going on. Why don't you give us a little bit of information about that one? Why don't we start off with Peter? Why don't you give us a little info on that, and we'll jump over to Matt quick.
Yeah. So basically, what we did was we built on the foundation of we separated from the Rhode Island Relics crew, the Pound the Ground crew, and we kind of built upon what we started with that group, and tried to do something new and different. We listened to people that went to the event. We talked with the sponsors. We wanted to make an event where everyone could be proud of what we did. And you can't please everyone, but we've really made a really concerted effort this year to try and produce something that any run-of-the-mill detectorist, from beginner to experience, can come out, have a good time, and enjoy themselves. So we took a lot of the information we received from people and, like I said, sponsors and whatnot, and just kind of threw it all together. And Matt's going to talk about something new we've got this year. I think people are going to be excited about. But I'll pass it over to him, but in a second here. But we've got new fields this year. We know that Jeff knows there was Rev War stuff found. There was War of 1812, all the way up until probably the 1940s. I mean, there was stuff on this property, and some of the new fields we kind of we've got some. There's going to be some really good relics found. Just walking a couple months after the event, my buddy and I, without detectors, stumbled upon some pretty interesting artifacts that I think people are going to find really, really awesome. So we didn't detect it. We will not detect it. It won't be detected before this event. So somebody will snag some of those relics that we saw. But I can tell you, Jeff, kind of like you out there in Colorado, they were kind of just sitting on the surface. So if you saw some stuff on the surface there, you know there's stuff that's below it.
Absolutely. That is a fact. And it's exciting because the stuff you guys find is way older than the stuff we find out here. So it'll be fun to see what all is found. Yeah. All right, Matt. I want to throw it over to Matt there quick, just see what he has to add in on top of this.
So as most people, are already aware, we've totally, reorganized, the whole event, so we've got, we're renting a convention center for the meet and greet. It'll roughly hold, 2,500 people. I mean, they put Comic-Cons on in there, so we'll have all of our vendors in there the night before, set up selling machines. So if you forgot to bring a coil or a pin pointer or what have you, those will be available for you the night of the pre-meet and greet, so you can use that throughout the weekend. Something that I don't think has been discussed, or it might not, if it has, maybe folks haven't heard it. But, as of last year, we had a couple of YouTube stars there. Jocelyn was there, KG and Ringy was there, a couple other people. And so we know that, people follow, their favorite YouTube stars on social media. And when they go to these hunts, they always want to hunt with these individuals, or at least, talk to them. But, most of the time they're too busy, they're signing autographs or taking pictures, they don't really have time to hunt with people. So this year we're going to give away somewhere between 25 and 30 tickets to each rep that comes for each manufacturer. Those reps can give away those tickets on their social media how they like, and that's going to basically give a chance for somebody to win a chance to come Friday and hunt a private site that is not associated with the site that the dig site's on. So this is a totally different place. It's a private permission. We'll have all the field reps and those 25 winners, and they will get a personal, like VIP meet and greet, get to hunt with their favorite stars, signatures, pictures, whatever they want, for 2 or 3 hours Friday. So we thought that would just be it's completely free. We're not charging anything for the tickets. This is a total free, event that we're trying to put on just to get people their dream,
Well, that's an awesome little prize, I guess is what you'd call that. And one of the sponsors actually is American Digger magazine, so they're going to be in there and set up, I'm guessing. And
they will.
Yep. They were there last year. Like we're saying, their tent blew away just like everyone else's. So I'm guessing they're going to have to go out and purchase a new one. Maybe they'll get that American Digger canopy portion. So
and
let's see.
Let me throw something out. Don't hunt with Riley Bryan if you get the chance, because you won't find anything. He's like a vacuum cleaner. And Riley's with the American Digger magazine crew, and a phenomenal hunter, phenomenal researcher, a young man that has just hit the hobby by storm. But don't hunt with him, because he will find everything.
Yeah, we tried to make one of the biggest changes we made this year is kind of to prevent some of those things. We have a huge main tent. It's 40 feet wide by 160 feet long, I think is what it is going to be. And we're going to have all of our Kelly Co. is going to be there. They're going to be under the main tent. American Digger magazine is going to be under the main tent. And one of the neat things is meeting with Matt here. We love relics as most people do. But a lot of the folks that we get have never, had the chance to even hold a Civil War bullet or, see one up close or whatever. We get a lot of folks from Canada who are, interested in the conflict, but they've never actually been able to dig something like that. Same thing with folks out west. So we actually have, we're going to have a relic dealer on site selling relics as well as showing some things off that you might not be able to see anywhere else. And that's something new that we think people are really going to enjoy. We got the historical associations coming back, and they're going to keep, track of the finds and where they're found and stuff. And we use that information to tell stories, in the future of what was found and where it was found, and we can make a whole collection of things that were found in that area, and kind of paint a picture of what went on back in those days. So we got a lot of great things right now. Fisher just came on board, or First Texas. So we got Fisher, Bounty Hunter, and Technetics. They just got on board, and so that means right now we've got XP, White's, Garrett's, Nocta Macro, and Fisher on board right now. So all 5 of those companies will be here representing, and I've heard quite a few of those folks are going to be having new machines out. So it's going to be a really interesting event, I think. A lot of people are going to get to see some stuff there that they might not ever get a chance to see somewhere else and actually get to try it out.
Now, what are the dates of this particular hunt? So, we've talked about them. I don't think we actually talked about the specific dates.
Yeah. So the pre-hunt. So if you win a ticket to the specialty hunt with our manufacturer reps, that's going to be on Friday morning. So just a heads up, if you win one of those tickets, you must already have a ticket to the event or buying one, and then you'll get, that hunt is on Friday morning. And then Friday night, we're going to have our big meet and greet and pre-hunt meeting. We want most folks, if you can make it there in time, great. If you can't, we're going to rehash the rules the next morning, but we're hoping to have a PowerPoint and stuff the night before. Along
Steve Zazulek will be giving a seminar.
Yep. Dave Zazulek is going to be giving a seminar on, he's the ring finder. He just wrote that book. A great guy. He's going to be there doing that. And we're just going to have a good time on Friday, and that's October 9th. And then October 10th and 11th is the main hunt. October 10th is strictly our natural hunt, and Sunday morning we're going to have our seeded hunt. But if you don't want to do that, you can go out and keep hunting natural the whole day. It's your choice. When you buy a ticket, you get access to all of that stuff. And then also, I've got to throw this in there, Farmer let us do bottle hunting and magnet fishing this year, which is a new feature.
Now,
I say those are 2 pretty popular things, the bottle digging and the magnet fishing. So I think I seen someone last year doing a bit of a bottle dig, but they weren't specifically in it for the bottles. They were. I think it was more like a early 1900s trash pit that they were in, but they were still getting some decent stuff out of it. So.
Now, Peter, are they going to allow you to dig a pretty good-sized pit if you get into a bottle dump or something?
Yeah, so we asked the farmer. Last year we did have some folks that got into a trash pit, like Jeff said, and the farmer was just a little worried. He had never seen anything like it before, so he told me to tell him to stop. But when we got there this year and we were talking about another event, the farmer said, what were they doing? And I described it to him, and I said, if you allowed that on the property, I said, we'd only do it in fields where the crops have been taken off. I said, it doesn't do any damage. I said, we'll ensure that they fill in the holes. And I said, they are big holes. I said, they're kind of daunting, but I said, as long as they fill them in, would you be okay with that? And he goes, yeah. I said, I bet you there's some really neat things to be found in there. So that's one of the things that people had been asking for, but again, it's not our property, but we have a really great farmer, a younger farmer who's he's really open to helping the community, and he thinks bringing all these folks in there is going to really help the community. And so, he's open to that, and we're right along historic Lake Champlain for magnet fishing, and there's a river that goes right through it, Jeff, if you remember.
I do.
Chazy River. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff happened there. A lot of really neat relics. I can tell you, I found musket balls in a creek nearby. So there's got to be stuff in there that you're going to pick up some really interesting finds out of there.
And it sounds like that everything is kind of opened up a little bit more than pound the ground then, because you were kind of limited if you were a bottle digger, and you might be saying, well, I don't want to go back to that because, they wouldn't let us dig the bottles. Well, they will this year in specific locations on the property. Yep.
And that'll all be announced at our meet and greet pre-hunt meeting. We're going to give out all that information, all the good stuff, to let everyone know where we can hunt and where we can't hunt. But the nice thing this year is we really wanted to make sure that a lot of the fields last year we got kind of skunked on in the fact that we weren't even able to hunt them because the corn didn't get off in time. So we pushed the event back a week to help the farmer out and to help us out. So we're hoping a lot more property. Actually, most of the crops should be off by that point. So that'll open up a lot more land for everyone to dig on, including some really, really good fields, I think. We've got good feelings about them.
So that was one of the things that I noticed last year is I think we had about, was it 2 or 3 fields that the crops didn't make it out. I mean, that's the way it goes. You can never really tell how that harvest season is going to go, and that's part of it. And then the storms came in. I think there was some rain or something like that, like a couple nights before. So one field was pretty wet. But that's the way it goes. That's why it's relic hunting and not anything. We're not relic finding. We're out relic hunting. There's no guarantees in life. But you're adding more land this year, correct?
Yeah. So whatever we had last year, I think it equals the. Initially, we thought we had approximately 1,000 acres, but once they cut down the fields that we couldn't get on because they weren't cut, we were probably at 600 or so. So take that 600 acres that we had last year, and we're going to add at least an additional, we think, close to 600 new acres. So some of those fields that had a certain crop in them last year won't have that crop in it. Like we had one huge field that was soybean that is going to be corn this year that wasn't. And a lot of those crops, they just weren't able to get out. So giving that farmer a little extra time is going to make a world of difference. And then we have some, we can't predict the weather. Only the good Lord knows what's going to happen there. So you just pray for the best and, go from there. But I think we're going to be really in good shape this year.
Yeah, and if they get the crops off in time, if they get more acres off, then more acres will open up. But we can't tell people that hey, we got 3,000 acres when we don't have 3,000 acres. There's a potential for 3,000 acres, but there's no guarantee because we might have a wet spring and he can't get the crops off. So there's the potential of more acres to be opened up. That's why we extended the hunt a week out in advance to give him more time to harvest his crops.
Yeah, because they were out there harvesting as we're actually out there digging.
They were. Yeah, and some people got on. I'll tell you what, there was one field that people got on just as they were coming around it, and they made some, I'll put a shout-out to Relic Dirty Hands group out of Ontario, Canada. They killed it on one of those fields that they just opened up. I know a bunch of coppers and some seeded dimes and stuff were found out of that field, so... But we're hoping, we're really, the farmers really working with us this year. So we do know we have at least 600 acres of new property. Like Matt said, we can't guarantee how much we're going to have. But the closer to the hunt we get, most times our farmer has his crops off by mid-September, mid to late September. We had a really wet spring last year. God willing, we don't have that. But we do know we have at least 600 new acres this year with the potential of, This farmer has a lot of acreage, and if we can get people on most of it, we're going to do what we can to do that. So,
all righty. Are we up against another commercial there, Loy?
Yeah. We need to take a commercial break here, and we'll be right back, commercial free. T-shirts are a perfect way to get your brand recognized, whether you're talking about a business, a club, a sports team, your YouTube channel, or whatever. But you may have asked, where can I get quality, affordable shirts on demand? Well, I'm glad you asked. RELICS RADIO uses DetectTees.com for all of our T-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and hoodies. That's DETECTEES.com. Ken and Mark Guthrie make quality shirts that last, they ship quick, and best of all, they're affordable. So if you need customized apparel, then go to DetectTees.com and be sure and tell them that RELICS Radio sent you. And Ken and Mark Guthrie, great guys there. They've been with the show almost since the show has been going. You can not only get RELICS Radio gear there, you can get American Digger gear, or just about anybody that's anybody. They're making shirts, hoodies, and cooling towels for them. So check out DetectiveTees.com. And Jeff, I'm going to open up the phone lines, 270-495-0315. We've got Matt Jones and Peter Sorrell with DIGSTOCK 2020. So if you've got some questions that you want to ask or you just want to chat with us, well, call 270-495-0315. I put it in the chat. So I'll turn it back over to you then, Jeff.
Alrighty. You know what? Last year we had nothing but perfect weather, except for, of course, the storm. Hopefully you guys have that again this year, but definitely want to have people remember to bring things. You know, there is the chance that it's rainy or whatever. So bring some of those boots that you can wear, you know, that you aren't going to be wearing any other time, but, you know, out digging, waterproof boots and knee pads. Boy, I tell you what, that always saves me. And then it sounds like, since we're going to be able to do this water hunting bit too, and the time of year, I think wetsuit would probably be in hand. Don't you guys think?
I don't know if you want to get in that river in mid-October. It might be pretty chilly.
Yeah, but
that's why you have a wetsuit.
Yeah, but Scott Treckler said waterproof detectors. Yes, that is a must. Bring waterproof detectors. Then if it comes up a little shower, it don't run you out of the field or anything. Hey guys, why don't I'll go over to Matt, because he kind of been in the background a little bit, but tell everybody what kind of history that we're talking about here in Chazy, New York. What can people find and what periods?
Well, now see, that is another question that is better answered by Pete, because he actually lives in New York, you know, and I live in North Carolina, so he knows, you know, he don't live but 30 minutes from the property, so he has a better knowledge base of that, if you don't mind.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, yeah, I don't want to take all the time from Matt, but he's right. So we with the property itself, there's even dates back to people were roaming around this area. I mean, obviously, Native Americans for thousands of years. The first settlers that were kind of came through, or people that came through the area, was in the 1660s or so. There's even a sign down at one of the end of our fields saying that Captain Chazy, which the town was named after, was killed at the end of this river right on our property in 1666, I believe, by some Mohawk Indians. So, I mean, there's dating back to that period, and then during the Revolutionary War, Burgoyne's army camped probably not far from the field we were on. So British troops were up and down the lake at that time, headed towards Saratoga. And so, you know, and they had the outpost up there, and during the War of 1812, it was very contentious. The Battle of Plattsburgh was really big, which was one of the biggest turning points in the War of 1812. And so we had British and American troops moving up and down there. And, I mean, there were people settling in that area probably from the 1770s, give or take, up until, you know, there was a small town right in the middle of where our property is called Suckertown. It was like a little mill town. In and of itself, or a little village. So there's all kinds of history. And then everything kind of disappeared from that area that we're hunting in about 1940 or something. There's even an old roadbed that used to go through that doesn't exist there anymore. So, I mean, you've got all the way from the late 1600s all the way up until, you know, modern times. People have been using and working this land. So the wide variety of finds can be made there.
Yeah, if I remember right, there was actually a couple people that found some arrowheads in field number 4, if I remember right, last year. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, we've had quite a few Native American artifacts found up there. I saw a ton of Spanish reals too. I mean, to think how far they came from Mexico, minted in Mexico, to make their way, you know, several miles, you know, just a couple miles from the Canadian border is quite amazing too. Yeah, and if I remember right, there was several British 3 pence and some coins like that being found as well, right around me. I was a good luck charm for an awful lot of people.
I hate it when that happens too. No doubt.
Hey.
But if you listen to the folks on Oak Island, they're going to tell you that the Vikings and everybody came in up through that area way before Columbus ever came.
They will tell you that, but when you find some Viking coins, you let me know.
Hey, one of the things I seen in the chat room, someone was asking about airports. I flew into Burlington. We literally I had a direct flight from Denver into Burlington, so
yep.
There's that.
Vermont's a good flight. Yep. And there's two other airports that I'd recommend. There's Plattsburgh International Airport, which is right where all the hotels and stuff are, but it's very small. So there's a lot of connections, and you come in on a plane that's barely a plane. It's basically a car with wings. And then the other one is an international airport. It's Montreal, which is about an hour and a half north of Plattsburgh. And you'd need a passport to get into that one. But that's the largest one. Burlington's the next largest one, and then Plattsburgh.
All right. So then we get into, once you get in, of course, especially the larger one like Burlington, I actually picked up my rental car right there. So they have rental car services, which is very important because that'd be a long way to hitchhike from Burlington all the way across the lake. Montreal, I'm guessing, also has car services. What about the other one? Does that have rental car as well? Okay.
Yeah, Plattsburgh has rental cars. We also have Uber and Lyft in town. And actually, this is something we did that we didn't have last year. If you go to our website, www.adirondackdetecting.com, and click on the DIGSTOCK link, a lot of the information that we didn't provide last year, people can actually find it right up there. We've got a list of hotels, how to get here by train, plane, or automobile, restaurants, local restaurants that we recommend, local favorites, all the chain restaurants, all the hotels that we're working with are up on there too. So, I mean, you can check it out. A lot of the information that folks need is going to be right up on our website. And we actually did this neat thing this year. Matt, I'll let you talk about the liability waivers.
Hey, Matt.
Matt?
I think he's over there. He's over there petting the dog or something, I'm thinking.
Matt had dropped out. I'm going to add him back in. Go ahead.
Okay, so what we did this year was to help people out. If you go to the website, we actually have our liability waiver up there. And if you sign it and send it to our address, which we have listed up on there, you'll be pre-registered for the hunt. So when you come to our meet and greet, all you have to do is say, I'm on the list, and we've already got your information. And all you do is you get your band for your metal detector and anything merchandise that you picked up, and you're all set to go. So it's kind of like a pre-registration, which we think will help a lot of people out. You won't have to stand in line and wait for everybody else. You'll be ready to go right when you get there.
Yeah,
all right, I just heard something.
Yeah, Matt's back on the line now.
Okay.
I got dropped there for a second. Right when I got ready to say something, it went blank.
Well, you want to add to that what Peter was talking about there?
Well, yeah, he pretty much covered everything for the liability. We just wanted a quicker way. When the pre-meet's going on, and there's 1,000 people there, things get frantic and there's people all over the place. So, instead of making somebody stand in line for an hour, to get pre-registered, they can already do that, on the website. And that way they can avoid the lines. They can just pick up the detector bands and then go, chat with their buddies. And another thing that I kind of want to drop on a little bit is, so I know Pete's talked about we're going to have a shuttle, which basically it's not going to be anything but a hayride, basically a tractor with a wagon on it to take people, from the parking lot around the entire property. We're going to put a donation box on that wagon. We're not asking for any money for the ride, but it's appreciated. Any money that is dropped in the box will go to 100% of the proceeds will go to like the Wounded Warrior Foundation or the Children's Miracle Network or something like that. So we are going to donate a portion of our hunt money to a charity. So any donations from anybody for the ride would be appreciated.
And Bruce is in the chat, and he wants to know, what is the detector band? Just an identification tag?
Yeah.
So, basically when you go to like a nightclub, you get like a Tyvek band on your hand, like the neon Tyvek bands. That's basically all it is. So it's a Tyvek band. It'll go on your machine. It was a big thing over in England, I think, at Detectable. So that's what we're going to do for this event. Instead of having name tags and all that stuff, you get lost. It'll just be a Tyvek band on your detector to show proof that you've registered and that you paid to come to the event.
All right. Then there's people like me who bring 2, 3, or 4 detectors to an event like this.
You'll have one for each detector.
Okay, very good.
There you go. And I knew that Jeff wasn't coming up there with one detector. I know him too well.
Never. I never travel with anything less than 2 detectors.
Yeah. It sounds like that you guys learned a lot last year, and you've tried to make this a better event because of the miscues that you recognized last year, right?
Yeah, that was our biggest thing. Yep.
Okay, and that's good because you know what, there was definitely some. I'm trying to put this politely. There were some strong feelings about some of the things that occurred last year that people wanted to see fixed. So,
we took those strong feelings. Yeah, we took those strong feelings and we're hoping to turn them around. I think I hope we have strong feelings the other way, where they're saying, "Wow, that was a heck of a hunt, and we can't wait for the next one." That's our hope. Like we said in the beginning, you can't please everyone, but we're going to do our darndest to please as many folks as we can. Sometimes it's not, you might not find the most finds, but you're going to meet some incredible people. You're going to see some incredible things, and you're going to have a great time. That's for sure.
Yeah, and one of the videos, actually, the buddy that I came out with, Ken King, he put out a video about it, and him and I were discussing on the way from Burlington over to Chazy. I said I wanted to find 1 or 2 good things, and basically I came back with 2 good things. Nothing great by any means, but a flat button and a bail seal. For me, that's an acceptable find. Bail seals, some people don't care about them, but I think they're a cool find. Anyway, I found what I wanted to find. 1 or 2 good items, and I got to meet an awful lot of really awesome people. So, I mean, it was just incredible for meeting people last year. And I'm guessing it's going to be the same thing this year because, sounds like a better event. I like the idea. I love the idea of the big tent out there. That's going to make getting people together a whole lot easier. And, if I remember right, one of the mornings it was pretty darn chilly, so people kind of huddled together. But it gets hard to, I don't know, because you're out there in the open elements, it was kind of hard to gather around and get, coverage, but yet it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds because I like the idea of the Big Ten. So I congratulate you on that one. Whoever thought that one up, give them a pat on the back, maybe a little chime of the beer cans.
And the point that Jeff made, anytime that as a relic hunter or coin shooter or whatever, you go out, it's good to have expectations. You wouldn't go out if you didn't have expectations, but don't make those expectations be unbelievable, unreachable. And if you have a great day, it's been quite a while that anytime I go on a hunt, my objective is to find one filmable clip, that I can put in a video. And if I do that, then I'm okay. If I do more than that, it's a bonus. But Jeff and I, with American Digger Magazine, we get to travel to a lot of the relic shows and everything. And the greatest thing about those shows is the people that we get to meet, that we talk to, that we converse with either on YouTube or Facebook or through RELICS Radio or American Digger Relic Roundup. Just to get to meet those people is well worth the money. And we haven't talked about that, but what was the entry fee on this, and is the hunt completely full?
So no, we limited it to 1,000 tickets this year. Do we think we're going to sell them? Maybe not, but we have high expectations. But we are actually offering a early bird ticket right now for $120, and that gives you access to every part of the hunt. The meet and greet, you get some tickets for some free detectors, some great stuff there. You get all the natural hunts and the seated hunt. And that ends on March 1st. So if you want that nice ticket, you also get a limited edition patch with one of our really cool logos on it. And that's until March 1st. After March 1st, the price goes to $145, but that still includes the entire weekend, all the hunts, everything, the natural and the seated is included in that. And then also we offer a veterans discount because we are extremely proud of our veterans and happy, and we really appreciate their service. So a veteran can get a ticket for $75 for the entire weekend. That's everything included. For that nice price for those guys, because we appreciate what they do, and all they have to do for that is they just got to contact me either on Facebook or email, which they can find on our website through the contact form, and just prove to me that they served with a DD-214 or a copy of their license with the veteran designation. But I think we tried to do a good job trying to get an affordable hunt for everybody. We also have a kids area this year, which I think some folks are going to really enjoy.
Now, that was something that you did have last year or didn't have with kids?
We didn't have a kids. We did not have a kids area last year. I mean, we didn't have a ton of kids, but we're kind of encouraging people to come up with their family because it's a really beautiful area, especially that time of the year. And detecting is a nice thing to do with your family. I know a lot of kids don't, can't keep their attention long enough to do something like that. But White wants to sponsor it, and then Knocked Macros come in and said they'd like to help sponsor it. So I think we're going to have dual sponsorship on that. We're still working on things, but going to throw some prize tokens in there, and some kids are going to walk away with some machines at the end of the event. So I think it's going to be. I think that's really going to bring in some more families. I think we're happy to have them.
And we want to cater more to the family event side of it. I mean, like both you guys said earlier, I attended a lot of paid hunts in the past. And even though I didn't find a lot, the memories that I remembered the most were sitting out in the parking lot of the hotel with a grill with a bunch of guys that I get to relic hunt with that I don't get to see, but every couple of years.
Right.
You don't get to have that all the time. And that's the memories that I remember the most, not so much the finds, but the friendship and the family that you make on these paid hunts.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's some great camaraderie out in the parking lots and or at restaurants or, even at the hunt sites when you're just kind of at a break. You're milling around in the shade or just getting off your feet for a little while. It's awesome, that camaraderie that comes about when you have especially several hundred diggers in one spot.
And even at the motel, I know at Diggin in Virginia events, people will gather up in a room or two there, and they're cleaning finds and they're looking at those finds and they're trying to ID what they have found and the time period of that, and that's exciting. But I think any hunt that doesn't at least a little bit cater to the younger generation, to the kids, that we're losing out on that because that's the next generation of hunters. That's the way we keep this hobby alive.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And we really wanted to present this as an event where we don't care if you have 40 years under your belt, 30 years under your belt, or you picked up a metal detector the day before. We want you to come to our event. We want you to feel welcome. We want you to meet all these amazing people in the hobby, and we want you to have a good time. And, we're really hoping with the changes that we've made that people really see that we're doing this for you guys. We're doing this for the detectorists out there, all of you, starting out and, veterans, this is for everyone. And we really wanted to show that by the things that we're doing for them. So.
Well, that was awesome. Especially, honestly, I think that one of those things that you're getting that a lot of people aren't getting is the kids hunt. And I know for some reason, a lot of these paid hunts don't have anything for kids in particular.
And we just want to, and I'll just put that out there. Oh, sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to interrupt. I want to put out there, anybody that's 12 and under is free for the event. So if you have a kid that wants to come hunt with you or hunt with their dad or their mom or whatever, they can come in. We will put a band on their detector and they can hunt with you for free for the event. Anybody 13 or older obviously will be considered an adult. But I think it's going to be really good. I hope we do get a lot of families out at this event.
And anytime you got a family-friendly environment there like that, there may be people, hunters here that want to come, but they want to bring their wife and they want to bring their kids, and it seems that you're really open to that. Matt, I know that you probably don't have everything nailed down yet, but what kind of situation are you guys trying to create for the young children, say 6 to 9 years old? What kind of hunting environment are you guys? Obviously, it's not going to be like an adult hunter, right?
Right. So, we wanted it to be fair. We didn't want to take, say a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old and throw them out there in the field with, a bunch of people that have adults really, and, it's kind of like, any of these paid hunts, once it starts, it's like a cattle gate opening up, they just run a flock out into the field just as fast as they can go, trying to get to the greenest spot in the field. So we wanted to create an environment for younger kids. So we're going to have, it's been discussed, nothing is really set in stone yet, but so we'll have, a certain amount of acreage, inside of our hunt area, basically, that will be roped off. And, there'll be some planted finds in there, something for kids to find, because I've got a 6-year-old and, she's tickled pink, digging a Pepsi can, she thinks it's treasure just because something comes out of the ground. It just excites her, so we'll have some coins and some relics and some tokens, buried in the ground for the kids. And, nobody else will be allowed in that area except for those age groups.
And somebody that's great. It really is. Because, children that age, they can't compete. And, you need to kind of seed it up in a situation where the finds are going to be easy for them because they're young and they're inexperienced. But Metal Sharks asked about detailed maps that you guys are going to have. Do you have any of those online, or will you be giving those maps out at the meet and greet or the pre-hunt?
Yep, so they will be given out. We are going to print roughly 1,000 maps, the areas that we're allowed to hunt, the areas that aren't allowed to hunt, and we're going to hand those out the night of the meet and greet. So when you come and get your band and register for the event, you'll be handed your band and a map.
Yeah, so we might put up earlier than the hunt. We might put up like a general area, but again, like we want to make sure when we tell you guys the day of the hunt, when you get there at the event, we don't want to have a problem like we did last year where we didn't know what fields were going to be cut until that weekend. So we want to make sure when we give you guys a map for the event area and the hunt area, you're going to know exactly where you can go, and the fields that we tell you on Friday night will definitely be open and ready to hunt on Saturday morning when you get out there. So last year we kind of like threw the maps out there as soon as we knew. The farmer said, we think we're going to have them done, and we don't want to have that guessing game this year. We really want folks to know what they're doing. We might throw something up that kind of gives a general area, but beyond that, everybody can get their official map right at the meet.
And or first thing Saturday morning, because like you're saying, right. Some people aren't going to be there Friday night because of the work issue, and then they have to travel, whatever. But there'll be plenty of them there, I'm sure, Saturday morning. I think that was one of the big issues last year. I know it seemed like there's about 2 different maps out there that some people had that with land that was in it, and some of them that wasn't, and it was confusing to some of us. So,
to try to narrow that.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So to try to narrow some of that confusion down, at like last year. So we are going to Friday night. We'll have the meet and greet. We'll go over, all the rules, the places we can, the places we can't hunt. And then for the people that aren't there Friday, Saturday morning, for 15, 20 minutes, we'll go over the same rules with everybody to make sure everybody's there. We're not going to do any giveaways on Saturday. Saturday will be just the whole day will be hunting, so you don't have to, spend an hour and a half, waiting for raffles to be drawn and your name to be called and all that. So Saturday will be nothing but straight hunting. And then Sunday is when we're going to do the giveaways and the raffles and the 50-50 and all that.
That's a good idea, because last year was kind of spread out, and I know some people were going back in for the giveaways, and some of us, plain forgot about it because we were out hunting. That's what we're there for.
Right.
So congrats on that one. That sounds like a really good idea.
Let's look back last year for just a minute, though. Matt, first to you, what was the best thing that you saw found in this area of Chazy, New York, last year on that hunt?
Man, I'll tell you, I don't dig a whole lot of Rev War stuff here. Where I live, there is some colonial relics, but the majority of it is Civil War. And I was walking around doing, a little video for my page, and I stopped at one guy and just asked him if he had found anything, if he minded me videoing him, and he opens up his little box, and he's got this, like, War of 1812 shoulder breastplate in there, and I was like, oh, my God, can I hold that? And he's like, oh, absolutely, and it just sent shivers down my spine just looking at it. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I mean, I've seen it online for sale, but I've never held anything like that.
Right.
So for me personally, that was, probably one of the best things I've ever seen found.
And what about you, Peter?
Well, the funny thing is like I knew there was Rev War activity in the area, but until our event, I had really never seen a lot of it come up right in that particular area. But at our hunt, we pulled, I think there were 5 Rev War buttons found. And that really excited me because that told me that, they weren't just camped in one area. They were up and down this corridor, camping out, scouting, doing that type of stuff. And I think that was, for me, that was the most exciting thing. I saw a 60th Regiment of Foot, a couple 26th Regiment of Foot British buttons. There was even a USA Continental Army button found on the site as well, which to me was just incredible. And if we found that stuff last year, I can tell you that the new fields that we've got this year are going to produce some incredible finds.
That sounds exciting.
My mouth is watering. I would love to hunt a spot, and not that everybody's going to find that. Obviously,
nope.
You're not. Everybody that goes to that hunt is not going to find a Revolutionary War relic.
Nope.
But you have the potential, and that's what's so exciting about a hunt like this, is that you have the potential that you're hunting a historically rich environment, and there's just no telling what you can pull out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
What about go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, that's where, you're talking about, or at least, Peter and Matt were talking about, you're going to get new people out there. People who literally have had their detector for, a month or two maybe, and they could literally pull out a find of a lifetime out of these hunts. That's the exciting part.
Yeah, they could pull a Matt Jones, couldn't they, right off?
Exactly.
What about the variety of coinage that is found on sites like this?
Boy, we had all kinds of things found last year. Since we're so close to the Canadian border, one thing that a lot of people like that they don't see anywhere else is we get a large variety of Canadian bank tokens. They come in like all different sizes and varieties and, different designs. And they're pretty neat. But we had stuff, there was a Hibernia found, 1769 Hibernia. There was a bunch of King Georges. I know, actually, either George, I think it might have been Tim Saylor, Ringy found, he got a Real. And I know there were a ton of Reals, 1 Reals, half Reals, and I even saw a couple of really early 2 Reals. And then one gentleman actually pulled out an 8 Real on the property somewhere. So we had a lot of, more common, there were quite a few large cents found, a couple of half cents. There's just no telling what's out there. There was a little old Canadian silver, like Jeff said. There was some British silver that was found, which was really interesting. It's just no telling what you're going to find because, like I said, there was a little community there. So you just, those people lived their lives, and you just don't know where and when you're going to find things from. You just luck of the draw, really.
And that's true because I seen everything from, like you're saying, from the 1700s all the way up. I even seen one of our members that came out found a barber dime. I mean, and everything in between, literally everything in between.
Yeah.
And not to mention the incidental finds, that you can find, the Native American artifacts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy actually found a kettle point, which is definitely 1600s. And I think that was actually Sergeant Whitey of the White Field team. I think he got a kettle point, which is really incredible. I mean, we know that for a fact that that's, most definitely late 1600s, early 1700s for the most part. So that was really incredible in and of itself. So, you have the opportunity to find something that's thousands of years old up to, somebody lost something last year. I did find a shovel out there from last year, so.
And if I remember right, there were several items that people had lost, and that they did everyone else did their normal thing, took it into the lost and found. There was pin pointers that were lost. There were shovels that were lost. Leshy hand diggers that were lost. It happens. But you go check the lost and found. Typically, those will be put back within a day as to when they get lost, because that's the group of people that we are.
Yeah, I'm not going to quit hunting to take it to the lost and found. But at the end of the day, I'll turn it.
It'll get there.
Yeah, I'll turn it in. Sure will. Hey guys, you guys have both been great guests. Give us all of your links and everything, how they can get information on DIGSTOCK 2020, as well as your personal links, if you will.
Yeah, sure. So do you want us to give them to you right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So our website for DIGSTOCK is www.adirondackdetecting.com. And right under there's a big heading that says DIGSTOCK. You can find all the information for that. And then for ticketing, you can actually go right to our Eventbrite site. You can actually find that off from our Facebook page. I post up on there very often. So you can actually find that address right under one of our postings on our event. Our Facebook page is Adirondack.detecting. And you can just search that in the bar at the top there, and you'll find it. It's just a page. Click on events. DIGSTOCK will come up. We post in the page there, and then we also post on the event itself. So any new news will be posted there, and then any really big news will be posted on the website as well. And I'll let Matt Jones talk about some of his stuff. He's got his own YouTube page and stuff, and I think people should really check it out. He's got some great stuff on there.
So, as Pete said, check out, all of our links for Adirondack Detecting. If you need to email either one of us, you can email us at peter@adirondackdetecting.com or Matt, M-A-T-T, @adirondackdetecting.com. I only have, I've got the Swamp Critter page. It's Swamp, S-W-A-M-P, Critter, K-R-I-T-T-E-R, all one word. You can find it on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, Patreon. I've got I'm all over social media. So any social media that you go to, you can just type in Swamp Critter and pop up there. I'd appreciate a subscribe if you guys are into relic hunting and bottle hunting. We do fossil hunting in the summertime. So, we try to do a variety and put something out there a little bit for everybody.
And I'll tell you something, Matt, we'll discuss it. You guys are going to hang on after we close the show, and we'll say our goodbyes there. But I want to schedule you to where I can have you as a solo guest on and learn more about you and what you're doing there in North Carolina, if you would.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anything to add before we go, Peter or Matt?
I think we've covered quite a bit of stuff. I appreciate you guys having us on. We really do enjoy getting the information out there and letting folks know what we're doing new and different this year. And we hope to see a lot of you out there at the hunt this fall. And get your tickets. That's all I can say. I feel like once the summer starts to wear on and the fall starts coming up, I think they're going to start going a little bit faster. But if you want a heck of a deal, get one right now. And like I said, just keep an eye on us. We'll keep putting new stuff up there so you guys can check out what we've got going on.
And Matt?
I agree the same thing. If anybody has any suggestions or comments, something that they would like to see, we'll definitely consider it. You can, shoot either one of us a message on Facebook or email us, and, we'll definitely jot it down and take it into consideration. We hope to see everybody there, and it's going to be a really good time. I appreciate you guys for having us on tonight.
Appreciate you coming on, no doubt about it. And if you went to Pound the Ground and there were some things that you didn't like about that hunt, sounds to me like that some of those kinks have been worked out in DIGSTOCK 2020. And so give this one a try. And once you do, well, let us know what you thought about it. Jeff, go ahead and give out all of your information as well.
Alrighty, well, I'll just put it out there. Jeff Lubert out of Denver, Colorado. I'm also a board member at the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club. You can click on our tabs over at eurekathc.org. That's Eureka THC, standing for Treasure Hunting Club, and not that it's Colorado linked by any means. And you can actually find information about our national hunt we have going on. It's a seeded hunt. Nothing like anything these guys are doing at Digstock. Ours is all seeded. So, Rush to the Rockies 2020 is coming up in June. So you can click on our tabs and check on that.
And go ahead and give out your personal information with Treasure Mountain as well.
Well, all right. I will do that then as well. I am a sales associate over at Treasure Mountain Detectors. If you want to talk to me about how you can upgrade your machine, maybe you need a new one. You know what? Just like anyone else, I'm not going to try and sell you a new machine if all you need is a new coil. We'll talk about what you want, what you need, and you can give me a call at 303-618-5179. Tell me that you heard it right here on RELICS Radio or American Digger Magazine's Relic Roundup, and I'll work with you on getting some really good prices your way.
Sounds good, and I do appreciate you coming on here tonight with me, Jeff. I know that you went to the hunt last year, and I knew that you would be a great asset because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have any firsthand experience with it, and I appreciate you taking time out tonight to come on and help me out with this show.
Anytime, my friend, anytime.
Okay. Appreciate it, and appreciate everybody that has joined in live tonight on the chat. Appreciate all of you that are with the Cutting Edge Radio Network, our syndicated version of the show, and all of you also that will catch this on the archives. Come back next Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, and be sure and check us out on American Digger Magazine's Relic Roundup this Monday night. That's at 9 o'clock Eastern. See you later. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on RELICS Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at RELICS Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcast, and many other podcast outlets. RELICS Radio is also syndicated on the Cutting Edge Radio Network and is broadcast around the world. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure and follow us so that you get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. Be sure and visit Diggin with 7 on YouTube and check out the RELICS Radio Facebook group page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to relicsradio@outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you. And we hope that you'll join us next Thursday night. Until then, get out there and dig some history.